Tonight on KGW News, cracking down on food carts.
If you can't even wash your hands, you shouldn't be selling food.
Why a big concert on Friday has health officials particularly concerned. Also tonight, no such thing as free money. The measure on this November's ballot that may sound good on the surface, but is facing significant backlash.
I think a music venue down here of that capacity would be excellent for foot traffic.
As Portland greenlights a new concert venue for the city's Central East Side. And Vancouver gymnast Jordan Childs breaks her silence after the heartbreaking loss of her Olympic medal. We begin at 11 on the eve of the first concert to be held at Providence Park in nearly 2 decades, with county health officials warning people about a growing concern outside the stadium. Thanks for joining us. I'm David Molko. We're not talking about ticket scalpers trying to make top dollar off the Foo Fighters, but food carts without permits hoping to make a few bucks at a time. Catherine Cook is in the newsroom. So, Catherine, what are they selling?
Well, David, mostly hot dogs and
It's a pretty good neighborhood. I like it.
Rick Morrison lives in Goose Hollow near Providence Park. For the last several months, he's watched as more and more people
They're on almost every corner.
have been setting up these little hot dog carts outside the stadium.
Yeah, every Timbers or Thorns game, they're out there. So I'm sure they'll be out here tomorrow for the concert.
County health officials have beef with that. They say these food vendors are unlicensed.
And I wouldn't recommend ordering food from them.
Andrea Hamburg is interim public health director for Multnomah County. She says they've tried unsuccessfully to help these vendors get permits. Now they're cracking down. Inspectors have posted these bright yellow stickers on some unlicensed carts to warn customers. But Hamburg says some vendors have been covering them up and just keep selling food.
And it's important because foodborne illness is serious. It could just lead to a bad night's sleep for you, but it could land you in the hospital.
Since last summer, Hamburg says they've shut down 4 vans with out-of-state license plates, dropping off food carts and their vendors. Same story in California and Washington. These photos are from health officials in Seattle dealing with their own cart problem.
Without a license, we can't verify that the food that these folks are selling is safe for people to eat.
Hamburg says licensed vendors must be able to keep food cold before preparing it and have a way to wash their hands. Basic things, if you ask Rick.
If you can't even wash your hands, you shouldn't be selling food.
He's never eaten one of these cart dogs, and he doesn't plan to.
And they smell really good. They look really good. But again, without water and without the permits and without all the I just don't want to do it.
health officials say in most cases, properly licensed food cart vendors will display their county-issued permits like this one, where customers can see them. If you don't see a permit and you're unsure, they say it's a good idea to ask. David?
Yeah, better safe than sorry. Thank you, Catherine. All right, let's take you outside on this Thursday night, Friday Eve. And while, yes, it is still the middle of August, it appears we have some rain on the way. Chief Meteorologist Matt Zafino with a first look at what we are calling a weather impact alert. Matt?
Yeah, a rare rainy summer day coming our way not tomorrow, but on Saturday, and certainly not tonight. See the moon out there. It's not quite full, but it's big and bright in the southern sky. 67 degrees, nice night. But Saturday, we're going to call that a weather impact alert day for the simple fact that it's pretty unusual to get this wet of a day in the middle of summer, and I think it will have an impact on a lot of people. A lot of people have outdoor plans, sporting events, whatever, and all of those might be impacted, especially in the afternoon and evening hours as it becomes very wet. We could see a thunderstorm in the valley as well, and there's a chance we could get some ponding of water in some of the intersections, and that could impact driving a bit too. Now up in the Cascades, a bigger impact. There is a flash flood watch up for Saturday, because of the fact that we could get some downpours over the recent wildfire burn scars. That could lead to mudslides, debris flows, landslides, and the like. So up at the Cascades, a little bit more of an impact is certainly likely up there. Right now, the storms have all ended in Oregon, but not before they laid down some rain over in Burns and John Day. And some places in eastern Oregon picked up nearly 3/4 of an inch of rain, about a half an inch in the southern Oregon Cascades. So tomorrow we're dry, clouds and sun, but we get the weekend showers and thunderstorms Saturday and Saturday night, especially Saturday night. Looking rather soggy, David.
Yeah, it is. Here it comes. Thanks so much, Matt. Let's get you caught up on tonight's other headlines now. Portland police are looking for people they say were involved in a crash and a shooting that disrupted a northeast Portland neighborhood this morning. This was near 143rd and Sacramento. Investigators say they found a van and truck that had crashed into each other, and it appeared someone in one or both vehicles started shooting. They found one of the people involved with a life-threatening gunshot wound. They say it's not clear how many others they were looking for. Well, today, Multnomah County Commissioners unanimously approved a new agreement with ambulance provider AMR with the hope the new staffing model will improve response times. The county will pilot a mix of paramedics and EMTs in some ambulances in line with what other counties do. The changes here are temporary and will be reviewed over the next year. And people in Oregon will get a chance to vote this November on a controversial ballot measure that would give every Oregonian a yearly rebate of $1,600. It's known as Measure 118. The group behind the idea, essentially a type of universal basic income, says it will decrease poverty in the state. But politicians on both sides of the aisle have spoken out against it, in part because the measure would be funded by increasing the corporate minimum tax. Business groups think that could keep companies from coming to Oregon and hurt those already operating. Others worry the cost would be passed on to consumers in the form of higher prices. Well, new tonight, Portland's given the green light to a new concert venue on the Central East Side. It would sit near the Hawthorne Bridge, and while the developers are local, they've partnered with the often criticized Live Nation to run the venue. Alma McCarty is here. So, Alma, how's this news sitting with the neighborhood?
Yeah, David, many are excited about bringing more people into this part of the city and having another option for live music. The venue will be large enough for 3,500 people.
On the corner of Southeast Salmon Street and Water Avenue, in the shadow of the skyline, signs reveal this gravel lot won't be empty much longer.
Yeah, it's pretty positive. Yeah, as long as they build something cool, because it's like the kind of the center right here.
This week, the City of Portland's hearings officer approved the development of a 62,000 square foot building to be used as a concert venue. City documents show the space will fit 3,500 fans. In a statement, Beam Development and Cola's Development Group wrote in part that it will fill a gap in Portland's music market and support more artists and shows.
If it's a larger, act, it's like they're either going to be Crystal, and if they're bigger than that, they're going to be at Moda Center pretty much. So there's not really anything else, I think that in that kind of capacity range that I'm aware of.
Curtis Ayers, a musician who also works for Bunk Bar nearby, says a venue this size will bring much needed foot traffic to the Central East Side.
For all of these businesses, I would assume that it's going to be a very positive thing, and hopefully for the music scene in Portland too, it could be a positive thing.
Despite this excitement, others worry about the traffic mixed with the train crossings. And some consider the biggest drawback to be the partner in this project, Live Nation. One group, Music Portland, calls the entertainment giant a threat to the local music scene. Currently, Portland is one of the few major metro areas without a venue operated by Live Nation.
And developers argue that they have teamed up with Live Nation because members of that team live and work in Portland, have experience booking entertainment here, and understand what makes Portland unique. Right now, we do not have a construction timeline or an opening date. David?
That'd be interesting to watch this unfold. Thank you, Alma. Well, now to a follow-up on a KGW investigation, because the state of Oregon has launched an ethics investigation into a Portland lawyer behind dozens of disability access lawsuits. You might remember we found lawyer Jessica Mulligan sent dozens of demand letters to small businesses in Portland, threatening to sue if they didn't bring their property into compliance with the Americans with Disabilities Act, and on top of that, pay attorney fees, hers. If the state bar finds Mulligan committed ethical misconduct, she could face a range of punishments, including reprimand, law license suspension, or disbarment. One of our former clients is suing Mulligan for legal malpractice. He says she made legal arrangements, sent communications, and negotiated settlements without his knowledge. The lawsuit also claims Mulligan concealed her behavior for her own personal financial gain.
When she was sending demand letters, was she keeping you updated? And when she was negotiating settlements, did she ever ask, are you okay with this?
Hard to hear. He says no to both of those. We reached out to Mulligan as we have in the past, but did not get a response. To catch up on this full investigation, check out the story section on KGW.com. Well, in another update, Vancouver gymnast and Olympic medalist Jordan Chiles spoke out today after her appeal to keep her bronze medal failed. In a lengthy Instagram post, Chiles wrote, quote, "The decision feels unjust and comes as a significant blow," end quote, not only to her, but also to those who have championed her along the way. She also addressed the heartbreak of having her score downgraded and racially driven attacks she says she has experienced on social media. This all stems from the individual floor competition at the Olympics, where coaches requested a review of her initial score. The judges honor that. They bumped up the score, pushing her from 5th to 3rd. But days later, the Court of Arbitration for Sport ruled the review should not have happened because the request was submitted 4 seconds too late, which reversed her score to the original 5th place standing. USA Gymnastics then submitted new evidence showing the appeal was actually made by the deadline that time. But the court says it refused to reconsider. Chiles says she is now facing one of the most challenging moments of her career. Straight ahead on KGW News at 11 on this Thursday, the story of one homeless camp that's left everyone frustrated and crews struggling to keep up. Plus, the critical role high-altitude balloons can play in helping firefighters in real time. Stay with us.